The Sparta Board of Education Annual Organization Meeting is called to order.
It is. You have to get closer to it.
The Sparta Board of Education Annual Organization Meeting is called to order at 7:02 p.m. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Sparta Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Sparta Board of Education Office, 18 Mohawk Avenue, as designated by the Board of Education for posting of such notice in a public place. Written notice was emailed on January 11th, 2022 to the New Jersey Herald, the Star Ledger, tapintosparta.net, and to the Township Clerk, specifying the date, time, and place of this meeting. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible. The Annual Board of Election results. Candidates for three-year term: Lauren Collier, 3,550 votes. Kurt Morris, 3,533 votes. Lee McMichael, 3,046 votes, and that's candidates for three-year term. Candidates for one-year term: Walter Knapp, 3,933 votes. Leanne Pitzer, 3,888 votes. Christina Keeling, 3,878 votes. At this time, I would ask Mr. Zittimer, the Board Attorney, to administer the oath of office to the newly elected board members.
Okay, will all the new board members join me up front, please? Why don't you all stand like right here? That'd be great. Please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or an offense listed in NJSA 18A:12-1, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
And at this time, I will do a roll call. Ms. Collier?
Here.
Ms. McMichael?
Here.
Ms. Pitzer?
Here.
Ms. Keeling?
Here.
Mr. Morris?
Here.
Ms. Sealander?
Here.
Mr. Knapp?
Here.
Mr. Palesci?
Here.
Dr. Serrano?
Here.
I would like a motion to open the floor for nominations for the Board of Education President.
Motion.
I'd like to nominate Kurt Morris. Oh, sorry.
I'll second it.
This is to open the nominations.
Correct.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I'd like to ask for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Kurt Morris for Board President.
Are there any other nominations? I would like to ask for a motion to close the floor for
Motion.
nominations for the Board of Education President.
Motion.
Need a second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
I would like a motion, please, to approve.
Now we have to do a roll call on Mr. Morris as the president, so go down the roll, please.
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Pitzer,
Yes.
Ms. Keeling,
Yes.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Seelander,
Yes.
Mr. Knapp,
Yes.
Mr. Paleschi,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Coming. Huh? Yeah. We'll now open the floor for nomination for Vice President.
I would like to nominate Lee McMichael.
Do we have to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Lee McMichael.
Technically, you don't need a motion, so just name the person you'd like, and then Mr. Morris is going to ask if there's any other names, and then we'll close the nominations.
Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Wendy Solander for Vice President.
And any other?
So now we need a motion to close the nominations.
Motion.
Vanessa?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So when we do the roll, please state the name of the candidate who you're supporting. Ms. Black?
Ms. Collier,
Just to clarify, so I would say who I'm voting for. who
Correct.
I'm voting in the order.
Yes.
Lee McMichael.
Ms. Keeling,
Lee McMichael.
Mr. Knapp,
Lee McMichael.
Ms. McMichael,
Lee McMichael.
Mr. Morris,
Lee McMichael.
Mr. Paleschi,
Wendy Solander.
Ms. Pitzer,
Lee McMichael.
Ms. Seelander,
Wendy Solander.
Dr. Serrano,
Wendy Seelander.
Ms. McMichael has the votes.
Yeah.
There's no closed session. They're on the committees.
Yeah. With the board committees and, with the board committees, these will be selected at a later time and posted. Like the same thing with number 10 with delegate liaison assignments. At this time, we'll open up to public comment. Public comments are invited at this time to all matters pertaining to the school district. Please state your name, municipality, and group affiliation and appropriate for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. There'll be a countdown timer. You'll be notified when there is 1 minute remaining, and then again when the time is up. at the end of 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to others. This portion of the meeting is meant to hear public comments, not to have dialogue between the board and the person speaking. The board asks that the members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights to others individuals when speaking and not disrupt the meeting, and you may be asked to leave. All statements should be directed to me as the presiding officer. The board or the administration may respond to any questions or comments after the conclusion of the public participation. Anyone for public comment? Lovely. Motion to close?
Motion.
Motion.
Craig, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
I have a motion for items 12.1 to 12.4.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Wendy? Discussion? Roll call, Joanne?
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Pitzer,
Yes.
Ms. Keeling,
Yes.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Mr. Knapp,
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano.
Yes.
At this time, does anyone have any old or new business to discuss?
I'd like to bring up something under old business.
Is there old or new business on this agenda?
Not an actual category, but somebody could bring up old or new business.
So there's a item under old business I would like to bring up. I want to discuss the delivery of the 2020 health and PE standards so that there's full transparency for all the parents in the district. Currently, only second grade has a lesson plan that's being shared with parents. In the spirit of full transparency of what students will be exposed to, I would like to make a motion that all grades where the new health and PE standards have been added, that the lesson plans and resources for each grade be shared with the parents via email, and that they are also posted to the district website within a reasonable time prior to implementation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So I just want to clarify, a motion was made by the board.
A board member, yeah.
A board member can make a motion without a recommendation, or,
Yeah, so this is not a personnel item, so a board member could make a motion without your recommendation, Dr. Beck. So now we're in the discussion phase of the motion.
I think I would like to ask what would be considered a reasonable amount of time for the district to get this information out to the parents, as stated in Walter's.
Yeah, I'd be happy to respond to that.
Great, thank you.
Sure. So currently, what was sent home for second grade parents was because there was not a health and PE lesson for family life taught in school. So the only way that they could get that information was optionally through a delivery of parents at home. That circumstance doesn't exist at any other grade level. So at every other grade level, the family life lessons are being taught. In second grade, they were not taught by our health and PE specialists. So what was sent home wasn't a lesson plan, but it was an information page. So that's not how we write lesson plans, and that's not what teachers use, but it was a way for parents to have information that was organized and concise. So if they felt that it was appropriate to utilize that, they could. In addition to that, because it wasn't taught in school, there were also no resources or links that were attached in the curriculum that discussed and described what would be taught or how it would be taught. Because, again, just to clarify, it was not taught in school. In every other grade level, they do have the resources listed. They're live, they're linked, and you can review them for the family life unit in all of their grade levels. At this point in time, lesson plans are something that teachers use to drive instruction. It's not a public document. It's not something that is written for an audience. It's something that teachers use as notes to drive their planning and to determine how to implement the curriculum. They do that usually 1 week before they implement a lesson, so they don't have lesson plans written for the full school year. We can continue to discuss this at a curriculum meeting, but those are some of the reasons why, as things exist currently, why they do. But we do have a curriculum committee meeting coming up next week, so I'd be happy to discuss that further.
I guess the question that I heard, just so it's clear, is I think the question to the administration is, if parents need to make an informed decision about whether they want their children to opt out, I guess, of particular curriculum, what's a reasonable period of time that a parent could come in and inspect, I guess, what's going to be delivered in the classroom so that they can make that informed decision? So the resolution, I think, said what, Mr.?
They wanted lesson plans.
Lesson plans and resources.
No,
But I mean, the resources are already being listed.
Hang on. At the end of your resolution, it said it had to be made available when?
Within a reasonable amount of time.
So I guess the question is, what
prior.
is a reasonable time?
I think there is no set reasonable amount of time, depending on where each individual teacher is exactly and how they plan on delivering it. Am I wrong?
And my question would be, why the lesson plans? Like, why are not the resources that are already linked enough? I mean, it's not like you're going to send home the discussion items, why the discussion is happening in the classroom and not at home.
Right, like currently, right now, the scope and sequence, the curriculum has all of the content, how things are being delivered, assessed, and the links to all of the resources used. So that's available for review right now. The question of distributing teacher lesson plans is not something we've ever done, and it doesn't seem like a practice that's instructionally sound, because if you're creating something that is for public review, then that's a published document. That's not what lesson plans were ever meant for, and so I think just that conversation would have to really be reviewed.
I think there's a lot to be discussed here, and there was a lot of discussion that took place through committees for months and months. I don't know if passing this tonight without discussing it, I find it highly irregular to pass a motion without a discussion in committee, first of all. But there's a lot to be discussed here, and to put us on the spot to answer certain questions like that, I don't think is very fair, because there's a lot to discuss, and we'd have to look into it.
So what is it that be the issue around trying to deliver? I'm just not following and getting it out to parents.
I mean, she's saying that they're already doing that. The links and the resources are there. It's just not the exact lesson plans, which aren't a public document to begin with. So if you want to review their curriculum, it's been available for months and months.
I'm not talking about the curriculum, I'm talking about what's actually being instructed in the classroom.
But she's saying the resources are already available for you to review.
Yeah, I think what we have to distinguish between is a review of what's being taught, which we're happy to provide as much information. There are parents that call to request, more information beyond what the curriculum shares, but releasing or having a board of ed or a public participation of community members review lesson plans.
I'm not looking for a review of lesson plans, I'm just looking for what is going to be instructed in the classroom to be released to parents.
Yeah,
I'm looking for full transparency.
yeah, I don't know.
Would you want to amend the resolution to removing the lesson plan part?
Or maybe table it till after the next committee meeting.
I believe that they're going to start teaching the
They've
new
been teaching, they've
standards
already taught
on-
stuff earlier this year. in some
I
grades.
understand, but January 13th, I believe, is the date for some of the grades that are going to be taught, correct?
Yeah, for some of them, it
Right.
has been already taught in several grades already.
Right. The high school, right?
The high school, Alpine has already taught it.
But Alpine, I thought the second graders
Well,
weren't taught.
the at-home information was sent home.
Okay.
Right, so we're talking about the middle school here, right?
Yeah,
So that hasn't
that's
been
what you're talking
started
about.
yet, that starts on the 13th.
I believe the first middle school lesson starts on the 13th.
So, again, what is it, or what amount of time would you need in order to get that information that we're looking to have out to the
I
parents?
guess it's just clarifying exactly what you're looking for. The content and the resources are available currently. So beyond the
Where
content.
exactly are the resources?
In the curriculum, they're linked, live links. And those will be the only
And
resources.
it pulls up like the videos, it pulls up
Yeah,
everything.
those are the only
Everything that's
resources
used,
that will be
You can look at
utilized.
that already.
Are the live links on the district website?
Yeah, the
Okay.
curriculum is on the district website.
Okay.
So you can go to any grade level.
As far as the resources being listed, that's based on the state standards, correct? The resources?
Yeah,
So
correct.
it's not necessarily what Sparta will be using to teach the standards?
It
It
is.
could be.
No, it's exactly what we're using.
So they're going to be using it verbatim?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And nothing beyond.
I think what would be best is maybe if we could send out an email instead of a link to the website, an email with the exact curriculum and resources listed. So parents don't really have to dig for the information. It's presented to them more clearly and concisely instead of fumbling through the district website to find the curriculum, to then find the resource. I think it would just make more sense to have it presented in such a manner that parents aren't digging for it. It is given to them.
So any parent that requested that, I did that for them. So to send it out to your family, let's just use you as an example. You could have 3 different students in 3 different grade levels.
I
So the
think all
way
we're
the
asking
curriculum
is that a district-wide
Let Tara finish
email.
talking.
Sorry.
So there was a video, and there's also like the way that we posted the curriculum through Atlas is how other districts who utilize Atlas have organized that information. And I'm happy to work with anyone to show them how to get to that. They would have to be personalized emails to grade level families, which I'm not opposed to doing. It's just, I've not had that question from, no one's reached out to me, and if they have, I've provided it for them, but it's there and it's available, and there's not digging to be done. It's several clicks and you can find everything that you're looking for. So I think it also is important that all of us and the public are proficient in utilizing our curriculum platform.
I do think it's worth a little bit further conversation, and I agree that it might, take to committee, and I know that might not want, or might not fit kind of the timeframe that we may be looking for. But I just think to understand the whole picture, I think it is worth a more in-depth conversation. Just my 2 cents.
I think we can just map it
I just
out
think there's
during
more
our
moving parts.
curriculum
Sorry,
meeting.
Vanessa.
I'm sorry, Craig. I was just saying, I think we can map it out a little bit better and be more specific during our curriculum meeting so that, there's no back and forth and we can kind of, finalize what it's going to look like.
So, I mean, maybe if people are questioning whether they want their child to participate because the date for the next lesson is the 13th before the next curriculum meeting and the next board meeting, maybe those parents who are concerned and want to know or need extra information, they could reach out before then. That way they do feel fully informed before this next lesson is taught, if it is tabled. I mean, I think Tara's willing to do that. I feel like that's a good compromise.
Again, I think, with the motion, the lesson plans, as Tara said, the lesson plans, it's being taught verbatim, if that's the case, of what the state standards are, and making that link accessible, like Christina said, it's not a hard ask just to make the link accessible if that's everything that's out there is in the link, if that can just either be posted on the homepage of the district or just be sent out as a blanket district on Blackboard, just like any other thing would be.
I just want to make sure we're talking about resources and not actual lesson plans.
Well, if the lesson plans are pretty much verbatim what the
The
state.
lesson plans aren't there, it's just resources.
Very minimal resources. Sorry, my voice. Like 3 links, I think, to like 1-minute YouTube videos. And I apologize for my voice, but I did go through and it is very minimal.
So, just so I'm clear in understanding, so the lesson plans are verbatim what the state meant? I missed that, I'm sorry.
It's no problem. So the state standards are what the district looks at when developing a curriculum. And we decide how we're going to align those standards and put them together to make units of study. From the curriculum that's developed, teachers write lesson plans to determine, let me use a totally different subject, like narrative writing. So that's the standard. I have to teach narrative writing. It's in the curriculum. It's going to approximately last 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. And we're going to cover these set standards. We're going to use this resource, and we're going to use this assessment. And then when I get to that unit, I develop lesson plans that help drive the week. So like, where am I starting with entering this unit? Okay, I'm going to start by asking a question, or I'm going to start by presenting one of the texts that have been identified. And so I make, as a teacher, those lesson plans that last a week. And then I decide, as I'm going through those lesson plans, if I can go faster or slower, how the kids are responding. Do I need more time or less time to maneuver through that? So it's not a script. A lesson plan is just how you're going to get through one day at a time of implementing the curriculum.
So if a parent reached out to a teacher, they would supply the lesson plan for the week for the student?
We've
No?
never done so before.
So they won't share that with the parent?
Well, it's just not developed for the parent. It's developed for the teacher to guide their instruction. So it's like a football coach, I guess, or somebody who's, making a plan for themselves. It's not like a published document that's meant to be shared with an audience. It's meant to help them navigate each day and reflect on what their kids need and don't. So that's just a very different, approach and process to organizing information.
I would have to agree that lesson plans do not typically get shared with students, with parents. But when teachers are being evaluated and they're given notice by principals or administration, they can provide a lesson plan with resources in all those, things.
Yeah,
like-
and we
And for a
do.
sensitive topic, I don't think it's a huge ask to ask for those things. I agree, for like a math lesson plan or a language arts study, it would make no sense. But for very specific, sensitive topics, it might be something worth exploring.
So maybe just for the purposes of facilitating this discussion, what information would allow a parent to understand what is going to be delivered in the classroom that day, I guess, that's the goal, so that they know whether to opt in or out? What can this motion more clearly perhaps say to achieve the goal that Mr. Knapp is looking to accomplish? Dr. Beck, I don't know. I'm not an educational expert, I don't know the answer to the question, but what should it say?
I would think the resources maybe being republished would serve that same purpose. I would just caution against the sharing of lesson plans, because that's an internal document. And once you start sharing lesson plans on this topic, what's to stop the request for lesson plans? I'm just thinking big picture here. Stop the request for lesson plans on every topic, and before you know it, we have all of our teachers being evaluated and judged on parents for their everyday lesson plans, which they are trained to design and implement. So I'm just thinking bigger picture here. I understand where you're going as far as the resources go. Maybe we can discuss how to reshare those resources. But I would really caution against the actual lesson plan, because I just think bigger picture, that's a slippery slope.
I guess the question you're asking is, how do you know on each given day what's being taught? And the way a teacher knows on each given day what's being taught is by their planning, let's say, the Saturday, Sunday night before. So it's not like lesson plans are written for an entire unit. And so, number one, they're developed as they're needed and as they're about to be implemented. And number two, the purpose of the lesson plan is to help them implement that instruction. So I think we just have to think about, is there another way to do that? To give you more information on what would be delivered day to day, if that's the request that would be helpful for people to make decisions.
And maybe one of my suggestions may be for people who do, what information you're looking for, put it in an email and send it over to Tara and Matt and the head of the curriculum committee, so they can put it on, right on the discussion topics for the next meeting. And then you have your list of kind of what you're looking for, and then that can all be kind of compiled and discussed, to come up with a document or, whatever you want to call it, to be posted and or sent out to parents. It just may be more helpful to have have all the information of what everybody's looking for in one spot.
And I think hearing that request tonight, it might take a minute. I mean, we meet again Tuesday as a curriculum committee, so we can think about some different approaches to achieve goal, but to still be an instructionally sound approach to information sharing.
I think just based on the discussion here tonight and the motion and the uncertainties of wants and asks, it should be, I'd like to make a motion to table it to a discussion item on committee's Tuesday meeting.
That sounds good.
Second.
There's no discussion on a motion to table, so we'd go to the roll call. This is to table the motion. Ms. Black?
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. McMichael?
Yes.
Ms. Pitzer?
Yes.
Ms. Keeling?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Seelander?
Yes.
Mr. Knapp?
No.
Mr. Pelesci?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on. 13, go to the order. No.
Just want to acknowledge the really beautiful holiday concerts. Our students and the conductors just did a beautiful job. Really enjoyed some of them. I'm sure a lot of you guys got a chance to as well. So thank you to our students and teachers who put those together.
Yeah, and speaking of student performances, just to piggyback off of that, next weekend will be the middle school's performance for Shrek. 2 weeks, I'm sorry, 2 weeks. Thank you.
That's right, get your tickets. Looking forward to it.
Getting a little anxious.
I'm just going to welcome and congratulate all new board members and new-ish board members and old new board members. So, welcome.
We have Sparta Pope John next week basketball, so show your support for the obvious. It's Tuesday night. Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Craig? Second?
Second.
Second.
Vanessa?
That was
Favor?
me.